a podcast filled with conversation and curiosity sparked by Utica Community Schools. This is UCS Podcademy.
Hi, I'm Allie Szalkiewicz. I'm a sophomore at Stevenson High School, and I'm in the MADE program, which it stands for Manufacturing, Automation, and Design Engineering. And I'm so excited for you to be joining us today at our UCS Podcademy. Our topic today is athletics, and if you'd like to meet our guests.
Hi, Allie. Good afternoon. My name's Dilday. I'm the District Athletic Director for Utica Community Schools.
Nice to meet you. Thank you for being here.
You're welcome. Glad to be here.
So I have some questions for you. How long have you been in your position at UCS?
I've been with the district for many, many years, but currently I've been in this position as the District Athletic Director for probably about 29 years. I was appointed in July of 1994. So I've been here for a while.
Yeah, good for you. So could you just give us an idea, what does a director of athletics actually do?
I can give you from both the building perspective and from the district's perspective. At the building level, the athletic directors, and we have 11 secondary schools that have athletic programs that are involved in the Michigan High School Athletic Association, which is typically referred to as the MHSAA. And the building athletic directors are more involved in the day-to-day operation of the athletic programs, meeting with the coaches, meeting with students, the student athletes, securing game workers, working with the assigners for the different sports to make sure that we have officials, working with the transportation department to make sure you have the buses, submitting requests to me for purchases of athletic equipment or purchases of uniforms or just, maintenance issues and those kinds of things. So the building athletic director is responsible, like I said, for the day-to-day. From the district level, you gather that information, but you're more involved with the Michigan High School Athletic Association. You're more involved with the Macomb Area Conference in representing the district. Again, I work with the officials, assigners, field issues. I work with the maintenance department. I'm working with all of the 11 secondary schools and the athletic directors and their wants and needs and the hiring process of coaches I'm involved with. But that kind of gives you an idea.
Mm-hmm. What are some of your favorite things about your job?
The nice thing about being a district athletic director of this large district is that you can do a lot of things. You can get a lot of things accomplished. I've been able to make a lot of nice contacts through the years, and to be able to contact those people with just picking up the phone and being able to get something, order something or whatever it is. That's one of the nice things about being in this position is that you have that ability, that flexibility to be able to do those kinds of things, just making some things happen in a good way.
And so with that being said, and how you were talking about UCS being a very large school district, What are some of the biggest challenges that you've experienced?
Obviously, through the years, you run into a lot of things. So there are a lot of challenges. And as you said, Utica is the second largest in the state of Michigan. Some of the biggest challenges on a day-to-day basis is now, post-COVID is trying to get equipment, trying to get uniforms. The timeline has been moved up significantly. We used to be able, as an example, buy football helmets in February for the following August. Mm-hmm. Now we have to order them before Christmas. I'm still waiting on some pieces of equipment that were ordered for last spring, and I'm still waiting on those. And it's just not the athletics, and athletic equipment that's falling into that situation. So many things are, but that's one of the biggest one of the biggest challenges. Another challenge that we have is shortage of officials. Again, post-COVID, the numbers of officials, the people coming into the ranks, they're not matching those that are leaving. And so we have, over just the last year, we've lost from the officials pool, and I'm talking about officials for swimming and for wrestling and for competitive cheer, basketball, football, baseball, softball, track, all of those sports, we've lost about 40% from our officials pool.
Wow.
And trying to make that up has been very, very difficult because young people aren't coming into it like they used to. And so what you're seeing where we're having to schedule games on days where you normally wouldn't schedule games, or you're dividing up your schedule just so that you get officials. And there have been instances where we've had to cancel games because we just don't have the officials. And it's just not a Utica schools. It's not just in Macomb County. It's statewide. It's nationwide where this is happening. And that's really, really a challenge, and it's not getting better, unfortunately. So those are just a couple of the things. I mean, there are others, but those are the more pressing ones right now.
Right. As an athlete myself, I've definitely seen that before. I've been talking with my coaches before games, and they've also shared those issues with us that we don't always have the refs, or we don't always have the umpires and things like that. So I get where you're coming from.
Yeah. So you're talking with your coaches. What sports are you involved with at Stevenson?
I have played softball, basketball, and volleyball, but from here on out, I think I'm going to start focusing more on basketball.
Good for you.
Thank you. So with UCS being such a large district and having so many responsibilities, what kind of sports do we really offer?
We offer at the high school 9 through 12 programs. We offer a wide range of them, from the swimming programs, tennis, cross country, golf, baseball, softball, tennis, club levels. Hockey, bowling, lacrosse, cheerleading. Wrestling. We offer quite a few programs at the high school level. For the junior high, for the 7th and 8th grade, we typically call it the middle school sports. Not as much. It's football, basketball, volleyball, cheerleading, track. That's really about it. There's a few clubs that are offered as well. Probably when you look at the number of teams, we have approximately 250, 260 athletic teams in UCS, which encompasses, we probably have, just off the top of my head, we have well over 300 coaches that are involved in those programs. So it's a large program.
That's impressive.
Yeah, it's nice to have, to be able to offer those things.
And speaking of all these teams in different sports, which ones have you seen change the most over the years?
The easy answer to that is they've all changed. And you know this as an athlete. When I first started in this position, we had multi-sport athletes. Many, it wasn't uncommon to have a multi-sport athlete, whether it was a female or male. What has happened through the years is they're becoming more specialized, not across the board, but we're seeing more and more athletes become more focused on one sport. And that has hurt our numbers to some degree because, they're not playing 2 or 3. But all the sports have changed to some degree. They've all become more, I guess, year round. I guess you could say. You look at some of the sports that you said you're involved in, the training that goes on year round. You can find a spot to play and a team to play with and a trainer willing to train you for these things on a year round basis. And so that's one of the biggest change. But the sport for me that has changed the most is just, and it's just my opinion, is basketball, simply from the standpoint that it's a faster game, much faster game. The players are much taller. And the fact of the 3-point shot, when I was a player, there was no 3-point shot. It was everything counted as 2 unless you went to the free throw line. But the 3-point shot, where the 3-point line is now, people are launching them from downtown, men and women, and even the little kids. And for me, that's a hoist. I can't do that. So that's why I said basketball, really, with the advent of the 3-point shot and the way the game's played. But they all have changed. People have gotten bigger and better and stronger. The weight rooms have really benefited the high school kids. And I think, again, you've probably seen that in your sports. But that's just my opinion.
No, I agree with that. Even from my parents have always said how when they were growing up, 3-pointers weren't that big of a deal. And I didn't even think about it until you brought it up, but that's true. 3-point shots are really a way to make or break a game now. So with you being in your position for so long, I'm curious, how did you secure your position?
I was a student at Utica schools from 6th grade on. So I graduated from Utica High School. And then I went to college at Michigan State. Once I graduated from Michigan State, I came back to Utica. And so I've been in Utica for a long time. I started at Ford High School. The second year Ford High School was open, I taught social studies and coached. That kind of moved me into helping out the athletic director at the time, a guy by the name of Ron Norquist, who I credit for getting me into this position and getting me interested in this position. And Ron asked me if I would join and help him in the athletic office. And I did for a year or so. And then Ron decided at that point to become the activities director at Ford, which then moved me into the athletic director's job at Ford High School. And I was at Ford High School as the athletic director for 11 years or so, 11, 12 years before I came up here. So I've been an athletic director in Utica schools for about 40 years.
Do you ever miss coaching? I mean, dropping it to have to be an athletic director.
The thing that I had to wrestle with, and I did wrestle with it, was I ready to get out of the building? Was I ready to leave the day-to-day involvement with the student athletes? And that was a tough decision, because I wasn't ready, but I was interested in this as well. And so that's when I made the move. Not a day goes by that I'm not in a building, whether it's a junior high, high school, or even elementary schools. Mm-hmm. I make it a point of being there and being around and being accessible.
So you kind of get best of both worlds.
Yes, that's a good way to put it. Yes, that's true.
So I have to ask, what is some of your most favorite or most memorable moments that you've had during your career?
When I have thought about this, but I think when I think back, it is the Utica High School girls basketball championship in 1999, I believe it was. I mean, to have a girls basketball team win a state championship, it was awesome at Central Michigan. That would be number one. And there's been a number of them. We've had a number of state championships. I mean, Stevenson's had them in baseball. Ford's had them in baseball. We've had individuals champions in track and in swimming and in wrestling. We've had some really good moments. When we started bowling, Stevenson won the inaugural, I think, state championship in bowling. That was phenomenal. There's been a lot of good moments, but just to pick one out, it would have to be the Utica High School girls basketball team.
So what makes that one so special?
It's because to win a state basketball championship is so tough because there's only 4 champions. It's not like football where there's 8. There's 4 divisions. There's 4 champions in the largest division from Macomb County and from our district. Those girls playing the way they did and going through and beating the teams they beat, and it culminated in the semifinal win and the state championship win at Central Michigan's Rose Arena, I believe. It was just a great experience. Being asked to answer that and being truthful, that would have to be number one. Not to slight the individual winners or the other team winners or anything, because those are all nice too. But that was just nice.
Coming from a basketball player myself, that makes me really happy to hear. All right. Well, anything else?
Well, being, in this position for as long as I've been in, when you come from a building, you're so focused on that building. And you forget that when I came up here, there was probably 44, 45 other buildings in the district. But you're focused on, in my case, I was focused on Ford, and I knew Ford inside and out, and I knew those things. But then you come to this position, and now all of a sudden, your focus now, instead of like this, now your focus has to be like this. And through the years, I've been fortunate enough to work with so many good people, whether it be the administration, whether it be the coaching staff, whether it be the parent groups, the booster groups, from all of the schools. And that really is, back then if you would ask me, do you know anybody from Stevenson? Well, I knew a couple of people, but now if you ask me that, I know so many, and I've had the pleasure of working with so many of those people and getting to know them. And I can say that for every school. It's just, that's the beauty of working up here in my position, is that you get exposure to a wider group of people. And there are a lot of good people out there that really help these programs and make these programs successful.
For sure. I've heard you touch on that so many times through our conversation about how you made all these great relationships and friendships over your career. And that just, I really didn't realize that. And I'm really happy that you got to experience that.
Yeah. It's been a pleasure working for UCS and in this position.
Well, thank you so much for joining us here.
Well, thank you, Allie, for having me. And I wish you luck this year and in your future success.
Thank you. And thank you guys for joining us. I'm Allie Szalkiewicz, and tune in next time for UCS Podcademy.
UCS Podcademy is a resource created by Utica Community Schools, Michigan's second largest school district located in Macomb County. Thank you for listening. UCS Podcademy is always available at uticak12.org/podcademy. Through this website, you'll be able to listen to additional episodes and access any resources and show notes featured in this episode. If you have episode recommendations, we invite you to send them via email to ucs@uticak12.org.